Hey everyone, I went to the theater this past weekend and I got to see the one, the only, Sonic the Hedgehog 2. I didn't go see Everything Everywhere All at Once. I saw Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Was it better than last weekend's feature, Morbius? Yes, this was a lot better. This was a better movie. Granted, the first movie, I didn't love it, but I liked it enough. I haven't seen it since the theatrical release, and, I thought it had a lot of the same issues that a lot of these animated characters going to live action usually have. I think of things like Alvin and the Chipmunks, Yogi Bear, Scooby-Doo, and some of those movies have charm, but there's issues with them where I can't even explain it, but it's just that type of movie that it's not for me. It doesn't really work for me on a grand scale. But Sonic the Hedgehog at least has a lot of heart to it, and I enjoyed it for what it was, and I thought it was one of the better video game movies out there. Jim Carrey was really fun, and the performance, the voice performance anyway, from Ben Schwartz. I mean, you can't really watch anything without loving Ben Schwartz in it. Anything he's in, he makes it a good time. So when they announced the sequel and I started seeing the trailers, I have to say, I was a huge fan of their marketing campaign for this movie. The trailer looked great. The posters have been great. Really liked the way that they recreated the cover art for the original game. Sonic the Hedgehog 2 is one of my favorite games of all time, so when there was a post-credit scene in the first movie showing Tails, I was like, I'm all for that. Luckily, this movie also had Knuckles in it, and voiced by Idris Elba, which turned out to be hilarious, a lot funnier than I thought that could ever be. And Jim Carrey started to become full-on Eggman, not just, a live-action version of him that we got in the first movie. No, he has the longer mustache here. There's even, there's more of his gadgets. There's more of, his flying machines, and there's even a giant robot that looks like Eggman. They really play it up in this one, and they're not afraid to be an adaptation of Sonic the Hedgehog. I thought this movie was fine. I don't know if I would say it's better than the first one or worse. I mean, granted, I think I like this one more just because there are more characters from the original games, and they're starting to push away more from having these live-action characters. There is a story arc in this that has really nothing to do with the movie, and it's not anything anyone will miss or hasn't pointed out already. Yes, there's a whole random scene that goes on where characters from the last movie are getting married. One of the characters, and it turns out her husband isn't exactly who she thought he was. There's mishap that goes on, and there's a misunderstanding, all this kind of crap that really just adds and pads the story out, even though it doesn't need to be done. It doesn't add anything. If you cut all of that out, the story still would have happened exactly the way it did. And I almost feel like maybe the reason they had it there was just because they needed to add some length to the film, but the film itself is almost 2 hours long, so I really didn't understand why that was done. It was very pointless, and it just is a, larger example of the problem with these movies, where they start relying way too much on the live-action characters. It's like, we're here to see Sonic the Hedgehog. I know there needs to be other characters, but it's like, now that we have Tails and Knuckles, and we already have Eggman, Jim Carrey stealing the show, I don't think we really need to also have, James Marsden, his wife's sister, getting married. All of that adds nothing. And that's the thing too, it just adds nothing to the overall story. It's not there with any purpose. However, is the movie still entertaining? I would say yeah. It's way too long. This does not need to be a 2-hour movie, but I thought the characters were funny. I enjoyed Sonic, voiced by Ben Schwartz again, a lot. I really did like Tails in it. Tails was very much exactly what Tails is supposed to be, and it's even voiced by the original voice artist, so it's like, I like that a lot, that they didn't try to make that too cheesy or modern or anything. Like, no, they really played up the fact that he's supposed to be like the younger brother to Sonic. And Knuckles was the biggest, turn of all. I did not expect them to go the route they did with his character, but I thought it was actually very funny. And, I actually believed a lot of the story beats in it. I thought it was a lot more subtle than, a movie of this type would be. There's a dispute going on between Knuckles and Sonic. There's a reason Knuckles is going after Sonic, but also they make amends. And I think it actually happens in quite a natural way. Jim Carrey's in the film, and so is his assistant. Jim Carrey as Eggman, I thought, was quite the choice for the first movie, but it worked out. And here I can see now why Jim Carrey loves playing this character, why he signed up for these movies. And, he's very enjoyable again. He's very funny. And the assistant is funny as well. I thought that was even done better than the last movie. And there's even a bit of a, almost like an entanglement between them, like a romance. Don't really know how to explain it. They don't dive too much into that. They don't overdo it, but it's there enough where you kind of question, and it's funny because Eggman doesn't treat him like, some kind of typical henchman pushing him around and such. Like, no, he's actually kind of nice to the assistant. So it's bizarre. It's pretty nice though. Like, I enjoy that this villain, for this type of movie is just a little bit better than what you would usually get from a villain in this type of movie. But still, the movie isn't all that great because, like I said, it's too long. There's still a lot of the issues that were prevalent in the first one, where the storyline is, while I thought some of the story beats with the, between Knuckles and Sonic were done well, a lot of the other story beats just don't work effectively. There's this whole backstory involving the Chaos Emeralds that I think is pretty rushed, which is weird because it's already a 2-hour movie. And I think a lot of the reveals don't work as well as I thought they could. For how many other unique aspects are here for a typical kids movie, it was weird that some of the story elements just weren't as unique. But still, I mean, like the first movie, this is still one of the better video game adaptations. And they really start to dive in to the aspects of the Sonic game that were not in the first movie. And so I like that. And, there's a good post-credit scene that I guessed kind of on accident. I actually didn't think that this character would be introduced, but I just happened to throw it out there. I'm like, what if they're at the end of the movie? And what do you know, they are. So, I don't know, like, the entire mythos of the Sonic, characters, the lore. I don't know too much about it all, but this specific character I did know, and what do you know, they're being introduced. So it wasn't shocking, but I was like, you know what? As much as, like, these are kind of average mid-tier movies for me, I get excited to see the next one every time. The first movie, I got excited to see the sequel, and this one, again, I'm excited to see it, and I don't feel like I'm wasting my time. I think they work for what they're supposed to be. They get the job done a lot better than a lot of other kids movies of this type, the live action computer animation hybrids, and it gets the video game movie done a lot better than a lot of other video game movies. So yeah, if you're a fan of Sonic, it's gonna work. I think, shockingly enough, for some reason, the Sonic movies are the best video game movies out there. 10 years ago, I would have never accepted that. I would have never believed that would be a possibility. And what do you know? Sonic is somehow doing it before all the others. It's crazy.